Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. We request everyone raise your hands up in the air, calling out for the mercy in full surrender, seeking the shelter of Shri Shri Radha Golokananda. Let's call out the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Shri Shri Radha Golokananda ki, Shri Giriraj Govardhan ki, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki, Hare Krishna. So request everyone can kindly come all the way in front. Hare Krishna. So thank you so much for joining, everyone. Thank you for coming today. As I mentioned, next Sunday is Sri Radha Ashtami, the appearance day of Srimati Radha Rani. Srimati Radha Rani ki. So we'll have a very wonderful festival. We'll have more details after the class. But just to let you know, in case you have to leave, we have morning class 6:30 a.m. by Her Grace Mother Urmila. So that'll be 1 hour presentation. Then from 10:30 a.m. to 4:30, we have 6 hours of kirtan. So please come spend the whole day here, 6 hours of kirtan. And then His Holiness Bhai Krishna Goswami Maharaj will give a talk at 4:30 in the evening. And then we'll have nice Abhishek, grand Abhishek of Radha Krishna. So everyone can participate with nice kirtans. And then we have a very special dance drama, which is on a very amazing pastime of Radha and Krishna. That'll be something really worth meditating on, that very beautiful pastime of Radha and Krishna, and then we'll have prasadam. So whole day we can be here absorbed in the mercy of Srimati Radharani. So that's next Sunday coming up. But right now let's move on to the next part of our program, which is the talk. And today's talk will be given by Her Grace Mother Lila Shakti. So let's warmly welcome her and express our gratitude for all her services to New Goloka. Haribo!
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatiravanachari Yamunatiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatiravanachari Yamunatiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Everybody, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Again, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Again, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jaya Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva. Nitai Gora Haribo, 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 Nitai Gora Haribo, Hari Hari, Hari Hari, Hari Hari. Jaya Jaya Shri Radhe, Shri Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe, Radhe Radhe, Shri Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe, Jai Shri Radhe. Sham. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsas Tatara Parvakacharyas Divine Grace Abide Chadanavinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Anantakoti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srila Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Shri Vrindavan Ki Jai, Shri Mathura Dham Ki Jai, Shri Mayapur Dham Ki Jai, Shri Jagannath Swami Ki Jai, Shri Bhakti Devi, Shri Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai, Shri Ganga Devi, Shri Jamuna Devi Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. How many here saw the Nrsimha Avatar movie? Haribol. Now when I'm thinking of Nama Om Bhagavate, I'm thinking of No Namo Narayanaya Namaha, Namo Narayanaya Namaha. That movie's just got it in there. Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today. So lovely to see everyone. And coming in the middle of Janmashtami and Radhastami, all week I was attempting at Aditi Narayan's Prabhu's behest to make a little video thanking everyone. And I kept trying, but there's a lot to do here, and it's kind of busy on a day-to-day basis, so I kept getting interrupted. So instead of the video, I want to just tell you here in person, for everyone that came out, and they either just were spectators or so many persons contributed so much. I saw so many of you working so hard, just like pushing yourselves to the absolute limit for so many hours and hours to make Janmashtami happen over multiple days. You know, when Aditya Narayan Prabhu, he disappeared, he has also service. When we first, I remember the first Janmashtami that we arrived here roughly the same time. It was 15 or 16 years ago, and Janmashtami was very small. It was very small. It was very sort of, by comparison, manageable to what we had experienced last weekend. And, you know, with that was so much, you know, growth spiritually and just congregationally. So much growth has happened. You know, many of you I've known for several years now. And, you know, you can practically see within each other and ourselves the progression, you know, of so much service, particularly devotional service. And it's really astonishing, you know, what a committed group of persons who are all 100% volunteer can actually put on that level of event that we held last weekend. It was, you know, just over a week ago. Really amazing. And, you know, the experience, as many of you know, wasn't without its challenges. You know, we had some challenges because we greatly underestimated the participants or the persons that we thought might come. I remember one day we were discussing maybe putting like Facebook targeted advertising, you know, which we had never really done before. Maybe for something a long time ago, but not anytime recently. And we decided, sure, you know, that sounds like a good idea. You know, why not? It's cheap enough and get the word out and like that. Too much. Too much. I don't know if everybody's aware of what happened, but there was so many persons that arrived a little later, and there was zero parking, there was zero, you know, there was so many persons turned away. How heart-wrenching, you know. It's horrible to even think about. In fact, there was one person that was at the parking for 5 hours, and then I saw him, you know, later, and he said, I couldn't continue. I was like, what happened? And he said, I just couldn't be the one to tell people they couldn't see Krishna. He was just so upset, you know. He was so upset. So, you know, that was a challenge. That was a big challenge, you know, how to accommodate. I mean, right now, you know, even though we've expanded greatly in scope and everything, we're still in a very humble circumstance with regard to space, particularly parking. But I will say that, you know, that was a minor thing. I think, you know, it was regrettable, but it was fairly minor because everybody who did arrive here, everybody was absolutely blissful. We had such a beautiful festival, and it couldn't have been made possible without so many persons here's hard work and persons not here hard work. I mean, just from days on end, morning till evening. So we are eternally grateful. I particularly am extremely grateful because my strong desire over the years has just been for everybody to behold the beautiful darshan of Sri Sri Radhikalokananda so they can be famous around the world. And I think they're starting to gain that status, right? They're starting to gain that status. So that's so exciting. And just leading up to what I wanted to speak about, just seeing everybody's hard work, you know, whether it feels like it or not, everyone is actually performing devotional service, which means service or some action and an act of devotion that's not about you yourself. You know, it's like a selfless, it's you can sort of divorce any ideas of gain from that service, you know. And so when we're partaking in pure devotional service on that level, Krishna, you know, not only does he see, but he also reciprocates. And I'm sure I could call on several persons in the room about the sort of reciprocation that you receive when you perform devotional service, right? I mean, just call out. How does it make you feel? When you do service and you complete a task, whether it's the kitchen or people were, you know, putting up decorations or they were cleaning up or setting up things, all of that came together. How does that make you feel, that pure devotional service? How do you feel? Anybody? Raise your hand. Let's share. Let's express. Yes.
Feel great.
Okay, you feel great. Parajit. What is it? Exhilarating. Yes. Exhilarated. Yes. Very connected. So much connected. Yeah. Connected with with Krishna. Yeah. What about when we all get together and we're like working on that? I'm sure probably you had the experience where you there was something that came up, and then several people got together to work on that something, and it was unforeseen, right? And then you were all trying to figure out how to do it or how to make it work or like that, right? So, you know, you have those moments with each other. You have these sort of real strong connective moments, you know, and it's just so relishable to have that because we're in the association of each other. You know, we're trying to, we're trying to relate to one another on this platform, you know, in bhakti. We're trying to, we're serving the Lord, of course, and we're trying to also better ourselves, but also it's important when we relate to one another within that scope and have, you know, pleasant interpersonal relationships, pleasant dealings, you know. That's the benefit of sadhu sangha, you know, getting together and having that sangha, whether it's a sangha, you know, some people think of sadhu sangha, you get together and chant, but, you know, you also sadhu sangha if you get together and you have to do a task, you know, if you're cleaning or putting together. I saw you and, okay, so I was around, I was super busy, but I also have this app that was installed where there's cameras all over the temple, so I can see what's going on at any time. It's really helpful, actually. Well, you know what? It's actually like if somebody doesn't come for an offering on time, you know, it's like that kind of, it gives you an alert, you know, no show at the kitchen or whatever. So, but there's cameras, and it's security, you know, there's all the things, you know. We're not recording anything, nobody's sitting in front of a thing watching it all the time. You know, I just pull up the app if I need to know something. And just picking out a few things, I saw you, like 3 days before you were putting together, like, I don't know what you were putting together. Or maybe you were putting together, I think the shoe racks, right, or something, yeah. And, you know, just in the kitchen, and so many in the kitchen. Everybody loves the kitchen. We're so happy you love the kitchen. We're so happy you love the kitchen, because it's definitely where, you know, everything happens. They say an army runs on its stomach, you know, so we always have to crank out that prasadam and help the people that are cooking the prasadam and clean up all of so many in the kitchen. And just so many coming forward to do the random things such as, you know, take home decorations, you know, to make, you know, handicrafts and like that. So it's like, you know, in the story of Lord Ram, everybody's building that bridge. Even, you know, a spider's coming and they're throwing a little pebble. So, you know, every little bit is so important. It's so valuable. So everybody contributed so selflessly and valuably to the festival. And everyone noticed. You know, so many people came. I talked to so many new people that came from Facebook. And, you know, also invites from others. And, you know, they were blown away. They didn't know we even existed. They had no idea. And I'm like, yeah, we've been here for 40 plus years. And Everybody was like, wow. And, you know, the level of professionalism also, particularly with prasadam distribution and the kirtans, were so nice, and everyone got to offer arti, and you know, all of the functions, you know, so much love and care, and just hard work went into putting all that together. It's simply amazing, and I know for this New Goloka Yatra, you know, and any yatra, manpower is really, it's so necessary to keep things moving smoothly, efficiently, and to give guests and others a pleasant experience. You know, so many persons were very happy with all the presentation, and so all the feedback, except for, of course, the parking or lack thereof, all the feedback was very positive. So just grateful for everyone's pure devotional service, and that you chose New Goloka to actually put forth all of your efforts and put forth your blood, sweat, and tears in the service of Sri Sri Radhagolokananda. And I just wanted to read, I was thinking about, actually I had told Prabhu maybe we should speak about Radharani, because she's been on my mind, because her day is coming. But then I was thinking, well, you know, Sadhuji, Krishna Goswami will speak about Radharani next Sunday, so be sure to come for our lovely festival, our Radhastami festival, just as on a Sunday, with so much kirtan and merriment and prasadam, and there's a performance as well. So please come for that next Sunday. But with regard to Radharani, you know, Radharani and the residents of Braj know this secret. They call out to Sri Radhe, and they say, Jai Sri Radhe. They want to catch Radharani's eye. And Radharani, because that's because Srimati Radharani is the one that can actually put you in front of Krishna and claim that you're actually qualified to try and serve, you know. Of course, you're under her instruction, tutelage, you're under her thumb, because you know, there's so many qualities of Srimati Radharani we can go over that you can actually see, you know, from everything from, you know, she speaks very sweetly, and she is very good with the elders, you know, so many things. That's because she's displaying such a perfect mood of servitude, you know, Srimati Radharani. And so with that, you know, thinking about when we're here and we're trying to serve, right? What does that mean? Well, that means we must, you know, pray to Radharani to be able to serve her Krishna nicely, and to for her to, you know, help us understand what that means, you know. And for that, we can actually refer to Radharani's Manjari, Srila Rupa Goswami, and we are all Rupanugas, right? Srila Rupa Goswami and his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, or as we know it, the Nectar of Devotion, which is, please, if you haven't read this book, read it immediately. It's really rich with detail on the how and the why of devotional service. It's one of the first books that I had ever read. It was really it's an eye-opener. And I'm just going to read those 6 features of bhakti. This is the very first paragraph chapter of the Nectar of Devotion. Rupa Goswami gives 6 unique features of pure devotional service. Number 1, pure devotional service brings immediately relief from all kinds of material distress. Who experiences that, right? Yeah. Right? As soon as you start putting together those shelvings, you're not thinking about work. You're not thinking about, you know, you know, there's a sink full of dishes or whatever. You know, you're not thinking about those things. You're just thinking about that task. So you're immediately relieved, without even trying, actually. Number 2, pure devotional service is the beginning of all auspiciousness. Auspicious means for the greater benefit of humanity or mankind. You know, it's actually, it's kind of a catch-all term, but it means for the betterment and the good of all, right? So when you're performing devotional service, no matter what it is, you can rest assured that whatever you're doing, it's good. I know sometimes I know people come and they're a little bit in angst about some part of their devotional service or what they did that just didn't go exactly as planned. You know, that happens a lot, right? Because Krishna has his plan and we have our plan. So sometimes they're not really, so for our benefit, they're not together. But, you know, even still, as long as we're not attached to the results of our plan, we're just simply showing up and doing the service, trying to do some service, you know, just trying, just simply trying, not even perfect, but just trying, then that's all auspicious. Then as we, you know, can go down the list, we can understand Krishna is very pleased with that simple surrender. Number 3, pure devotional service automatically puts one in transcendental pleasure. I mean, those few days leading up to Janmashtami, there was smiles on everybody's face. Everybody just looked like they were just, right? They were devotional service automatically pleasure. Leading up to Janmashtami, everybody just love it because you're thinking, wow, Krishna's birthday's coming and I'm putting together the shoe rack for everybody, you know, so it's really exciting, it's exhilarating. Like Paparijit said, it's exhilarating because you're doing something for the greater good. And then immediately, you derive transcendental pleasure because Krishna's happy when we're watering the root, and then it's reciprocal. You know, it's a reciprocation. Here's a biggie. Number 4, pure devotional service is rarely achieved. I personally think about this practically each hour of the day because, I mean, I think we probably know the sort of things that are going on in the world, you know, and we know we're in Kali Yuga, and I mean, I could go on and on about our unfortunate positions in this world, but we are not, meaning humankind, you know. But then, you know, there's a small slice of the population that somehow or other has caught fire, and they know the power of devotional service. They know. And however, it's really rare. You know, yesterday we were out on Harinam, and, you know, many times people, you know, they don't, you know, it just blows my mind because they're clearly, I mean, you can sometimes see people and they look quite miserable. I mean, it's just a fact. They're like they're suffering in some way. And it's not always apparent, but, you know, if you're here and actually, I'm sorry, he's choking over here. It caught my attention, excuse me. Is he okay? Elder. Okay, maybe he's getting some water. Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, and so if you're here and you're performing this pure devotional service, you know, anytime, what to speak of on a regular basis and over many years, you know, it's a rare accomplishment. It's unheard of in human society because usually human society is, you know, all about it. What's in it for me? You know, I want it all and I want it now. You know, they're not really thinking about anything outside themselves. In fact, recently, you know, seeing some persons, I mean, this sounds kind of negative, but, you know, most of the time people just aren't, they're very self-absorbed. You know, they're just not really thinking anything apart from what's going on in their little sphere. And if they're content in that, I mean, we can't say really very much to have them veer out of it, but still we have to try. And that's why I'm just going to put a plug in here for more Harinam Sankirtan, more Harinam parties. It's so important right now. Actually, yesterday on Franklin Street, we had quite a lot of people very much appreciating the Harinam. They took books. We had some cookies. We gave out cookies. We talked to some nice people. And they were different ages and stages of life. So, you know, like Vaisheshika Das says, the more you show, the more you sell. If we have more, whatever the little presentation is, then we'll be able to inform more people, share Krishna consciousness more, share this great treasure of bhakti even more, you know. And then they can also be fortunate. Srila Prabhupada was asked one time, how do we become, you know, how do we have this fortune to be devotees? And he said, I have major good fortune. You know, he actually gave it out so freely and so persistently, Srila Prabhupada. Number 5, those in pure devotional service deride even the conception of liberation. So, I mean, I'm not really, personally speaking, I had to learn. I came from an a monotheistic sort of a background. I was, you know, Christian, and I didn't really know very much about God, I'll say. But there was some conception of God, at least. It wasn't just impersonal, and it wasn't, you know, I didn't really know. Somebody actually yesterday was speaking to me. She had taken a small book, and she sat over and ate the cookie and was reading the small book. And then she came back up, and she was looking, and I was showing her the Bhagavad Gita. She said, what is it? She said, I'm from, I think she said Christian background. I'm from a Christian background. Is it like the Bible? I said, well, really, sort of, but actually it's more of much more detailed, and it's much more of a, more of a graduate level of study, you know, is what the Bhagavad Gita is, what to speak of the Srimad Bhagavatam or the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So, you know, when there's at least some conception of God, I mean, it doesn't seem like it's so difficult for, maybe it's not such a stretch for somebody to understand, right? But when I think about a Mayavad or an impersonal sort of a conception, it doesn't make sense. And I've actually asked His Holiness Sri Krishna Goswami, is it like being an atheist? You know, is it the same thing? And, you know, it's really sort of fine. So when it's discussed, and Prabhupada does discuss it a lot in his scriptures, the impersonalist aspects and what sort of people believe in that respect, it's kind of hard to, there's just some disconnect. For me personally, because it just runs complete opposite to bhakti and what bhakti sort of validates, you know, and that pure devotional service, that loving propensity that we just sort of dovetail, or that service propensity that we dovetail into the service of the Lord, you know. So for a person that doesn't have that concept, I would think it'd be very difficult to understand very much, or to even be very motivated to want to do very much. Because if we're in a, just floating around in the jyoti, you know, it's not, that doesn't sound very, you know, yeah, where there's no churning, there's no rust, there's no connection really with that. You know, bhakti is that really strong connection. So yes, we deride that because it's just sounds very distasteful. You know, it doesn't really sound like what we're used to. Bhakti is really dynamic, right? Bhakti is like exciting. It's, you know, every day's different a little bit, you know. The intimate association of the deities, you know, there's never two experiences the same. You know, even, you know, except for Kalyan Krit and Govinda Lila Amrita, I think I just saw her walk in. They're like, they're just the highest level chef because every single meal is the same. But usually everybody's dish turns out a little bit different, but somehow they've got it down. They're just like some empowerment where they can just do the same. And it's always fantastic. All glories to the cooks. Right. All glories. Yeah, Krishna likes variegatedness. Krishna wants variegatedness, you know. Look at the altar. Krishna looks happiest when there's variegatedness. You know, he wants everybody, it doesn't matter what you look like or, you know, none of those things matter. Just everybody, variegatedness, you know, together, you know, serving in that way. You know, he wants to see. Number 6, pure devotional service is the only means to attract Krishna. Krishna is all attractive, but pure devotional service attracts even him. This means that pure devotional service is even transcendentally stronger than Krishna himself because it is Krishna's internal potency. So think about that. We hear about the Samvit, the Ladini, and the Lila Shakti, right? So we hear about those things. So those internal potencies of Krishna, as headed by Srimati Radharani, you know, again, we're back to full circle. If she's recommending you because of your pure devotional service, your level, you know, and she's recommending you, or at least your willingness to surrender, then you know, you're golden. Krishna will accept you because Krishna's controlled by Radharani. Radharani can do anything. Srimati Radharani is not controlled by Krishna necessarily, you know. I mean, right? I mean, that's Madan Mohan Mohini. She can't be, you know, she can do anything she wants. So if you're really trying earnestly, Radharani will take you by the hand, you know, take you by the hand and pull you along and help you along. Earnestly, sincerely, and humbly. And I'm just going to read the next 2 lines, which starts to unpack, but this is the summation, in my opinion. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that one should surrender unto him, giving up all other engagements. The Lord also gives his word there that he will protect surrendered souls from the reactions of all sinful activities. That's very powerful. And that's why, you know, not particularly a motivation, but I mean, you have to have some motivation in devotional service. Huh? Yeah. You have to have some impetus must be there, especially in the beginning. Because in the beginning it's like, yeah, I'm kind of busy, and, you know, but you have to have some real, like, you know, greed or hankering for devotional service. You must. Mother Jadharani would like to read that again. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that one should surrender unto him, giving up all other engagements. The Lord also gives his word there that he will protect surrendered souls from the reactions of all sinful activities. So what does that say? What's the purport of those 2 lines? Yeah. Just surrender. Just surrender. You know, it's not easy. It's not easy because still life goes on, right? Still you have to figure out, you know, why does my head ache all the time, and what about my job, and is it going to be here next year, and, you know, Now we have a mini feral cat colony over at our place that we have to try to get to the clinic to get spayed and neutered so the colony doesn't grow. There's all these things. It just never ends. It's like one thing after another in life, right? As soon as have you ever played that game Whack-A-Mole? Anybody play that game? It's like this little game kids play, and it's automated, and a little mole pops up at all these different holes, and it's like alternate, and you whack it down, and then another one pops up, and you whack it down. And you got to keep doing it, for as long. That's what it feels like, because either something with your mind, your body, somebody else's mind, body, your car's broken down, whatever. There's something, always something. There's always something. And can you hear my frustration? There's always something. But I can attest that once you surrender and say, okay, there's always going to be something, but you know what? I'm going to serve the Lord anyway. I'm going to just keep that fixed focus, determination, just to serve the Lord anyway, because that's what we're meant to do. Srila Prabhupada said that the Jiva soul is actually, the position is to serve, So we're always having to serve somebody. We're serving somebody, until we get to the platform that, okay, now I can serve Krishna, and I can try to start on that path. And it takes time, It takes time because some things have to fall away, or other things have to ramp up, in the progression. But most assuredly, the more that one hears about, chants about, remembers, and sees the beautiful form of the Lord, associates with devotees, etc., those things are all kind of the impetus to keep going further and further. There's this a fun thing when you get into some devotional services. It's sort of like a transcendental competition, which is fun, to sort of up the standard, so to speak, up the game, up the ante, whether it be in the kitchen, or sometimes I know, particularly the kids, they like getting into verses, who can remember the most, or all those things to make it fun, to make devotional service fun. That's one thing that sometimes can be a little challenging, sometimes, depending on what's going on, is the fun factor. But again, if we're all together doing these things, then automatically it's fun. Automatically our material pangs and our distress is alleviated. Automatically we're, transcendentally joyful when we hear about Krishna, which is, the first service, and then remembering, the 9 processes of devotional service. I will say, and as highlighted by Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, that one thing with devotional service that is absolutely necessary is what I hear my Guru Dev calling putting rubber to the road. Means you think about, it's thinking, feeling, willing. You think about doing something, and then you feel it out, and you get the idea that how to proceed, and then you actually will it to happen. And that's actually the most purifying part of devotional service, because the physical acts, the physical involvement, that actually ramps it up even more. So I would implore everybody, as you already have been doing, to just keep doing what you're doing. Everybody's doing great. Everybody's doing fantastic. I see everybody. I see what you're doing. You're just like, you're going to the highest levels. You're actually surpassing, so many people over so many years just by dint of a little bit of devotional service, demigods are actually lining up to take birth on this material planet so they can start performing devotional service. They're tired of sitting around and eating fruit and enjoying. Yeah, they're tired of that because it's nice, but it's not getting you very far, and out of, whatever I've seen from everybody, I mean, just so many darting around and doing this and that, whatever the needful is, and just sweating and just all the things, and it's hard work. It's hard work, but it's joyful, right? It's super joyful. We're all getting this reciprocation from Radha Golokananda. They're so pleased, and we're all here together, which is so rare. And just having that attitude of gratitude all the time when we're with others or when we're doing things or when we're doing our service, just having that attitude of gratitude, it's just paramount, because when you're thinking about choosing to do these things and then you do them, it's the most, he said it right, it's the most exhilarating thing. Because you're actually not doing it just for yourself, You're not feeding yourself like that. You're trying to lead out, feed others, enliven others. Everybody sees everybody's devotional service, and it's really enlivening. It's what keeps us together, It's like the sticks you've heard about the sticks in the river, one or a couple sticks, they flow down really fast down the river, but if you come across, a whole bunch of sticks in the river, Prabhupada said that's strong enough that they'll stay steadfast. That gives us all the courage and the faith to continue on our path, Yeah, everybody's doing great. I'm still astonished. I'm just really, I'm really grateful to be in the association of so many wonderful personalities, actually. And so many starting from a young age. I love it. So nice. So many starting from a young age. Did anybody have any reflections about their Janmashtami experience? I'm really curious to hear if there was any real impactful realization or something that really, Janmashtami usually brings a lot of clarity, doesn't it? Right? Yeah, it brings a lot of things up, a lot of clarity. Okay.
Thank you. Well, not so much as realization. The biggest realization, of course, is that we collectively pulled together a festival that had I'm told about 10,000 devotees come through or more. 10,000 or more, plus, could be 16. So we managed to pull together a festival that was fantastic. And we would be remiss if we did not express our gratitude to our esteemed leader. Our esteemed leader, Lila Shakti Devi Dasi. No, yes, Adityanaran Prabhu. And of course, Vikasananda Prabhu, and Maharaj. But honestly, I know everybody comes together for the festivals, but I would like to, she doesn't just come together for the festival, she comes together every day. Okay, so we need to express our gratitude, because she doesn't just lead by example. She does all the services, but she also lets us all do our services. And that is a very important quality, because we've all seen leaders who nitpick everything. Okay? And you can't do anything, because you're always afraid that you're going to be criticized, or you would not be allowed to do it. And one of the biggest leadership skill is to be allowed to do it, because that's when the best in every one of us comes out. I was a manager in the material world, and I was told that the best manager was the one who can make themselves redundant, which means that they have to, like, not that she's going to ever make herself redundant, but she is a servant of Shri Radha Golokananda, and that's what she does. But she lets everyone else be that, and I think we owe her a debt of gratitude for all of that. Hari Hari Bol! And of course, thank you all the other servant leaders, but really, I wanted to not say that, to say that.
I just want to share the realization of, as we know, the temple altar was getting closed. So there was one family, they were down at 9:29. And I went out and said that the temple is getting closed. If you want, please come. So there were two of them. They yelled from down, saying, please, we come once in a year. I cannot go back. Please just hold. I was like, oh Krishna, how am I going to stop the altar to be closed? And like, I just literally, others were moving, okay, whatever. They were like going here and there. And then she and her husband like swayed the people, get out of my way. And like ran inside. And when they actually ended up, Champaklata has almost closed the curtain. There was like a climax, like Golokananda, you were like literally. And she just held the curtain for a few seconds, and this lady started to pour tears like anything, you know. And by seeing her look at Golokananda with the Aarti plate, going like, you know, full speed so that the curtain can close, to see that moment in front of my eyes, I said, just imagine, this person has so much affection to Golokananda, which I am standing there from 3:30 till 9:30. I did not see him in that affection, what this woman had for Krishna. So it was very moving, very positive. That I should also develop that every time I come, I should have that same enthusiasm, you know. So it was very wonderful.
Aditya Prabhu, would you like to come? Just say a couple things. Yeah, would anybody else like to share? Anyone? Please share. No? Okay.
Hare Krishna. I was just serving some prasadam, and it was very fast. There was so many people coming; it was amazing. And it reminded me of my days when I lived in the temple, and I finally got to actually do some strong devotional service and get very active, which felt great. It was fantastic, and I didn't want it to end ever in my whole life. I'd like to go on eternally like that. So it was very much reminding me of all the Janmashtamis in New Vrindavan when I was a brahmachari. So that felt great, and I'm really grateful that that happened by the grace of all the devotees. So thank you.
Anyone else? Can you pass the mic?
Hare Krishna. We live in Doha, Qatar. It's a Muslim nation, so we don't have deities and temple over there. So it was amazing to be here amongst devotees. So I just would like to say, whoever's here present, they should take full advantage of having temple, having this devotee association, having leaders like Aditya Narayan Prabhu, Mataji, Urmila Mataji, Amrendra Prabhu, because this association is priceless, you know, and this opportunity to serve the deities, to have their darshan, to have life around the temple, is so precious that sometimes, as Mataji was giving the example of that day, that those devotees and so much love they had when they saw the Krishna, Radha Golokananda here. So yeah, that's our humble, kind of request to everyone that take full advantage of this opportunity. And we were so really touched because every time we've come here, we've got so much love, care, and association that we are naturally attracted to come again and again. Hare Krishna.
I just wanted to say that Prabhuji, who just spoke, I wanted to thank him that he held the whole day of Srila Prabhupada's appearance day. He was in the kitchen and he was doing everything so enthusiastically, happily, and I just wanted to, like in front of everybody, thank him for his wonderful service.
I appreciate it. I don't live, I live in Raleigh. I appreciate just being able to serve for the first time since I've been here. It really meant a lot to me. That's all I have to say.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for all the devotees. Like as Mataji mentioned, everyone put lot of effort. Like it's so wonderful, come together, serving. The festival started almost 1 month early for us. Sending the mails. Yeah, so I feel like when we do a marriage in a family, like we work so hard for a month, but we don't feel that tiredness. But we are so fortunate we could do that event every year. So, but marriage we only very often, very rarely we do it in a home. But here we have the opportunity to do service every year in that grand scale. And we got the opportunity to speak about Bhagavatam and other Srila Prabhupada divine books. So many people could hear about our books, and so many Bhagavatams we could distribute, and we planted the seed of Bhagavatam in so many hearts. And we have seen like we planted the seed very soon that will fructify. Some of the devotees, they came directly and they asked, we want Bhagavatam. Like that seed was planted some years back, and we could see that the result. And we could see like how many devotees they could had the opportunity to chant the holy name going around the Tulsi Maharani. So many thousands of people got the opportunity to chant the holy name. And thank you so much, Lila Shakti Mataji, Prabhuji, Adityanarayana Prabhuji, Vikasananda Prabhuji, Guru Maharaj for setting up this wonderful family environment. Everyone is freely can come here, and everyone has the opportunity to serve. We are so fortunate. Yeah. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Since we brought up parking, the most controversial topic, so I wanted to acknowledge just for a minute. I'm not representing the parking team, but I'm just made a small role there. So I thought it's the onus on me to respond. So sincere apologies to everybody that we had to reject parking. So we are extremely sorry for doing that. We had we was feeling so bad that we had to say there is no parking. And at the same time, we also felt good. We got some chastisements as well from visitors, from guests. So we were on the receiving end as well for that. So we are grateful some of our karma might have been removed with that activity. And then one other observation on that day. So there were several, 1.5 mile this side, 1.5 mile that side, 2 miles that side, all cars everywhere. And poris everywhere, they blocked and they were shut downing. Yes, yeah, there, but still, there were some people who, like Mataji was mentioning, who come once a year. They came, they waited, they were going around in Hillsborough, going around, round, till the time police opened the roads back. And they came, they had darshan. So I was shuttling them and profusely apologetic to them, but they were like, no, don't worry, that's okay. You know, we have seen, it's not like Tirupati. You know, Tirupati, you have days of lines, but they finally had darshan of Radha Golokananda, so they're extremely pleased. So what I learned, similar to what Mataji was saying, is the love that they have for Radha Golokananda, the glimpse that they wanted of Radha Golokananda. So that devotion, if I can replicate a little bit in my heart, I think I'll be very grateful. Just wanted to acknowledge the parking situation. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So thank you so much, Mother Lila Shakti. It was so heartfelt, really from your heart you expressed the experience of Janmashtami and also the mood of gratitude. And as you so nicely said, like, you know, like I personally feel so grateful, so fortunate to have this new Goloka family. Like even when the service of Janmashtami starts like a month or few, like 5-6 weeks earlier, and I always look forward, wow, so many amazing Vaishnavas are there, and there's an opportunity to serve with all of them. And we are so blessed. I always feel so fortunate. All the Vaishnavas I see around, so eager to serve and so selfless, and they just come in such a nice mood of seva. I feel so inspired just to be in all of your associations. So I would like to thank each one of you, as Mother Lila Shakti also so nicely did. I thank everyone. You know, we cannot list the names. We had so many devotees come the weekend before, and then day before, the week nights leading on to Janmashtami, then on the day of Janmashtami, on the day of Prabhupada appearance day. And it was always so grateful to everyone for all their wonderful service. So thank you to each one of you. Hare Krishna. Hare Bol. New Goloka community ki jai. So also in this organizing, you know, certainly Mataji also mentioned, there were certainly challenges. And the reason, as you rightly said, is we didn't expect such a huge crowd, you know, such a huge crowd. We're thinking that, okay, Saturday, maybe we'll have visitors through the day. So that also happened. We had the devotees come from 10 a.m. onwards. We had crowd flowing in from 10 a.m. onwards in the morning. So we had during the day, plus that overflow in the night, you know. So it was a huge turnout, and, you know, we weren't expecting such a huge turnout. So certainly parking was an issue. And we are already thinking, like as soon as that day was over, I mean that night, that whole thing happened, you know, we're already like planning, okay, how to do it better for next year. And that's, you know, actually a lot of credit to all the devotees who did the Facebook, Mataji also mentioned, the Facebook, Instagram, making these short videos, spreading it, and it was like huge. So we weren't prepared for such a huge audience. So one way, it's a good problem that we have so many people who want to come to New Goloka, and we just have to think for next year, let's just plan better. Let's, you know, now we need to be prepared that, okay, such a huge crowd, how to make sure that everyone, when they come to New Goloka, they have a very pleasant experience to deal with parking situations.